Mark, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Pleasure having you at Media One, Mark.
I love this property. I think many people love it. I never told you this, but when my sister was teaching in Abu Dhabi, she used to come to Dubai for their weekends, as many of the Abu Dhabi teachers did.
Fantastic.
And she used to always stay here.
What goes on at Media One stays at Media One,
I don't need
Mark.
to know more. She just had her wedding in December, so. But no, she loved it. And I also mentioned this to you before, but I was with Mr. Gerald Lawless yesterday, who everyone knows from building out Jumeirah, and he even complimented you on what you've built here. So he wanted to send his regards.
That's a compliment that I take very highly. Gerald, thank you very much indeed.
I'd love to, for anyone listening and watching, to learn a little bit more about you and your journey, because you're obviously a bit of an institution now in Dubai, and you've been at the property for so long and everyone knows you here. But just before, maybe how did you get into hospitality? One of the goals of this podcast is not only to share incredible stories, but I think hospitality has such an amazing career opportunity for young kids, and I don't think we sell it well enough as an industry.
Yep.
And you can start from anywhere and get up to the leading position. So a bit about yourself and also why you think maybe it's such a great career.
Okay. I was my father was in hospitality, so I grew up from an early age, and we used to visit restaurants with him, and on Sunday and critique what they were doing well and what they weren't doing so well. Then my first job was washing dishes when I was 15. My first Christmas as a 15-year-old, and I remember the little brown envelope and the cash being delivered to me at the end of the week, and that moment was fantastic. And then just part-time work, working my way through. So I come from an F&B background, first and foremost, and worked my way through part-time jobs. And then, because like I say, hospitality is not rocket science, because that's why I'm doing it. But I went to, can now say I went to university, but back in the day it was Huddersfield Polytechnic to study hospitality. And I had a bit of too much of a good time in the first year, had to repeat it, and eventually managed to get my way through. But I was never really worried about the theoretical side, because for me, hospitality is all about people and connecting with people and managing situations. And I've always been reasonably good at that. So, you know, the technical side of housekeeping, not to ditch housekeeping, but it didn't bother me too much. Getting get out and actually do it from a practical basis. I then finished at Huddersfield, went straight down to London, worked, we were talking about earlier, worked at the King's Road. I worked in Knightsbridge. So I'm talking so long ago now, I was at a venue called Chicago Rib Shack, which is the venue where Zuma is now. And people will know, many of your audience will know where Zuma was or is, but not so much the Rib Shack. So I was there in and around London for just over 2 years. And then at the time, within the company that I was with, there wasn't many, people weren't moving, and there wasn't that much opportunity for me to grow. And my then girlfriend, my now wife, was Spanish. The company I was working for had a restaurant in Madrid. So I said, take me off to Spain. And I couldn't speak, 5 words of Spanish, so I learned the hard way. Take me off to Spain. I want to try a new adventure. So landed in Madrid in 1992. Immediately volunteered to work at the Olympics in Barcelona, which was amazing. Amazing experience. And then for the next 8 years, worked in and around, well, predominantly in Madrid, spent a little bit of time in Barcelona. And just before I left Madrid, I actually opened up the Planet Hollywood in Madrid, which is no longer there now, as many Planet Hollywoods. So I had lots of fun with restaurants and bars in Spain. And then I was doing some consultancy work, and I ended up in Dubai. And they said, yeah, we want you to go out to Dubai, and this was 2000, early 2000s, late 1999. And I remember at the time, Dubai, I know roughly where Dubai is. Let me just check on the map. I know it's in the Middle East, but I'm not quite sure where. I landed in Dubai, said I'd do a year, and then I said I'd do another year, and then after the 3rd year, I said no more deadlines. And then I spent the first half of my time in Dubai at Wafi, and I headed up what I used to call the Planet Hollywood complex, another Planet Hollywood, but there was Seville's Spanish tapas bar, which was opened by a very good friend of mine, of Mariano, and he's still in Dubai. And then we had a really sort of created a really sexy cocktail lounge called Ginseng, and then there was a nightclub called Planetarium. So anybody remembers those venues, they've been in Dubai many years. And then by default, almost, they said to me, Mark, we've got a building that was going to be staff accommodation. Do you want to, we want to open it up as an independent 3-star property, and which eventually became Arabian Park in Jeddah. Now, Jeddah back in 2005 was a sandpit. It's now completely developed. But really, without knowing what I was doing, I headed up the opening of Arabian Park, hired a really good team to make sure that it was a success. And that was my sort of first permanent foray into hotels. And I've not really looked back. I joined Media One in September 2011, and the rest, they say, is history.
Amazing. And I'd love to learn a little bit more about Media One. Can you give us like an overview, and, you know, not to be boring, but the rooms, the amount of restaurants you have, the types of clientele, and how you would, if I was to ask you to describe yourself from the hotel's branding perspective, how would you describe Media One for those the very few people that don't know it?
Hopefully not many. Okay, so I joined what I consider Media One Hotel in September 2011, and I now work at Media One. And what we've tried to do over that time is turn ourselves into a destination. So we're a mixed-use tower, 43 floors, slice the building in half. Top half are offices, bottom half's hotel, and then we've got F&B running throughout the building. And over that time, we've increased the number of F&B concepts at Media One. We've made changes. We've brought some expertise from outside to lease some spaces here as well. And really the F&B part of it it taps into all of you guys who live and work in Dubai, which is an important part of our base and our community. So everything F&B we do is directed and targeted towards Dubai residents. We then have top half, I said, we're offices, so it's 230,000 square feet of office space. We're full. And we're full with some really great tenants who have chosen to make Media One there, whether it's their local hub, regional hub, or some cases their principal head office. So we've got the guys from Motivate here who've got a couple of floors. American Express have got a floor. Hill and Knowlton have got a floor. So there's a few of the names that we've got here. New Balance are about to join us as well. So some really good tenants. And much more than tenants, because we connect with them, and obviously that's their team's work here, and we engage with those teams, and hopefully they'll spend a few of their dirhams that they earn in some of our venues. And then from a hotel perspective, we've got 264 rooms. We consider ourselves perhaps the first lifestyle property to open in Dubai. We opened in 2009. I wasn't involved in the opening. But 2009 we opened, and as an independent property, we've been very fortunate to be able to, first of all, run the business as if it was our own, that mentality. We've been given the autonomy and empowered to make all the decisions that goes on here without, and I say this again with all due respect, without interference from owners. We're here to do a job, and that's to run the business that they've empowered us to do. So we see ourselves as business, lifestyle, and entertainment as a destination.
The lobby, because I think anyone who's a local in Dubai will know it. Like, I've used it for meetings, and I've used it for meetings with an array of type of individuals. So I've used it for meetings with investors, I've used it meetings with hotel people, with friends. I think a lot of people have used it here. Was the lobby very thoughtful from you guys?
We wanted the lobby not to be a lobby, we wanted it to be a social space. People can hang out in the lobby, and they can do all of those things that you've mentioned, as well as many other things. It's a meeting place, whether it's for work, for leisure, for play. And when we refurbished the ground floor 6 years ago, and one of the things we really wanted to do was really accentuate the fact that it's not a hotel lobby. It's it's that meeting place, that social space. So there's a communal tables, large sofas. The music's normally reasonably loud in there. We like to create the energy levels. But the other great thing is that we've almost got two lobby areas. One is the hotel, and if you walk around the corner, you've got the office tower as well. And what we try to do with the refurbishment is merge from a look and feel and a design perspective, everything into one. So one of the things I love about Media One is the high footfall. We receive well over 10,000 people a week in all the different guises, offices, restaurants, hotel guests. And the great thing is that you walk through the lobby, there's always somebody who you know, always somebody you're saying hi to, and there's that energy, there's that buzz.
Yeah, because I think it's quite inviting, which, like, I'm in the industry, so I'm very comfortable going into most hotel lobbies if I want to do a meeting, but a lot of people who aren't in the industry actually get intimidated going into lobbies, especially maybe at the 5-star range. They don't know if they're allowed to go in, and concierge might look at them with a weird eye, or like, why are you here? Whereas this feels like this is open to Dubai locals, residents, come and share.
No, exactly. And you won't hear a pin drop at Media One. So we open the doors, everybody's welcome. Very much, yeah.
You've got a bit of a renovation happening, we hear on the rooms. What's the vision? What's the goal? What do you want to achieve with it?
Okay, so we're now coming into our 15th year. Over that time, we have been very conscious of how we maintain the upkeep of the rooms. But it's got to a stage now where, from a design perspective, what was relevant 15 years ago isn't relevant necessarily today. Competition in Dubai is massive. Nearly 1,000 hotels, 150,000 rooms of inventory in Dubai. We've got to make sure that we remain relevant. So we've been doing a lot of sort of research into the room of the future for Media One, bearing in mind that we're not going to physically change the size of the room, so it's the look and feel. Post coming out of the COVID, long stay started to become part of our business model. And what we want to do, one of the objectives of the refurbishment is that when we want to have a floor dedicated for long stay guests, but we're going to have the fold down bed, which folds back up again, and the whole point is to make a reasonably economical sized room, better equipped for long stay. So there's a whole floor dedicated to that. Then we're looking at the views, and different views will have different room layouts. So we're going to have an island bed room, where the bed literally is in the middle of the room, right next to the window with the views of the Palm. And then we're going to have another view where we are going to look at how we split the beds to create additional twin rooms. And then we're looking at our suites, and we want the suites to have quite a strong, bold design perspective, and people who come to stay in our suites should have a good time, should have a bit of a party, and so from a design perspective, they will be very much distinctive to the main entry-level rooms that we've got. So that's planned for April. If all goes well, we'll be doing refurbishment throughout the summer. And aim to finish at the end of September. And we'll be doing it in stages. So Media One will remain open. We'll just have restricted inventory during that time. But yeah, really, really exciting times. Looking forward to it.
How do you plan for something like that? As an example, like, I travel a lot for business. I'm a really silent sleeper. Like a ticking, I have to sometimes take the battery out of a clock if it's ticking. That bad. So I love living in Dubai because the building next door to me has just started building, and the noise pollution is amazing. How do you plan for that? Like, how do you prepare for, will there be complaints? Will there be noise? Will there be builders everywhere? Is it something you've really put a lot of thought into? Have you got friends in the industry who've been like, hey, let me know how to mitigate?
A couple of ways we can deal with that. One is earplugs. Another one is to have a few drinks in one of our fantastic venues before you go to bed, a little nightcap. No, listen, what we plan to do is we plan to have it's impossible to completely eradicate noise. We have to be reasonable and sensible at the times that we're making lots of noise. We'll have a dummy floor that will be the gap between the refurbishment and guests sleeping. and we'll gradually work our way down. I can't remember if we're going from top to bottom or bottom to top. And just using some common sense. Sometimes you think you're making noise, and if nobody hears anything, then you're okay to go. And other times you don't think you're doing anything bad, and you're on the room below. And no, but there are guests who are very sensible to noise. We must accommodate the fact that people are paying good money to stay at Media One. I'm sure there'll be a few fun and games, but we'll take it all in our stride. We have tight deadlines, but we won't. Our commitment is not to obviously negatively impact the guest stay whilst we're doing the refurbishment.
Amazing. It's a unique opportunity to build with intent. So right now, what we're doing with the team at Millennium is we're mapping out the environmental impact on plastic key cards and where it ends up in landfill, because obviously we bring digital keys to lots of hotels. You've inherited a building that was not like massively old, but older, right? And now you have this blank canvas where you're redesigning stuff. Sustainability across Dubai is becoming more and more topical, which is amazing. Have any initiatives you'd like to share? Are you excited that you have a blank canvas to build with intent now?
Our sustainability journey started a little bit before COVID, obviously went on hold, and then I think it was the summer of 21, and I said, that's it, no more COVID, let's start talking about other things, and sustainability came up. So we've been working hard for the last 2.5 years on a number of initiatives that we're slowly rolling out. So we have no single-use plastic at Media One. We haven't had that for probably 18 months now. We bottle our own water. We've got a bottling plant on one of the room floors where we produce all of our water in a filter system. We've changed all of our light bulbs to LED, which apart from being more sustainable, obviously there's a commercial saving there, which again, it's important as part of the bigger picture. But more recently, we've joined forces with the Waste Lab, 2 young ladies who help us manage our food waste, and we split our food waste up into scraps from the kitchen, food waste from the kitchen produced by the chefs, and then we've got the food waste from the guests. And we monitor those levels. They collect the food waste and they compost it in a farm in our lane. So it's a great local story. And then we get some of the compost back, and up on Garden on 8, we've got a little sort of garden out there, and we've got tomatoes and aubergines and eggplant, all sorts of things. And we're using some of that compost back, so it's coming the full circle. We work with another company called Neutral Fuels for recycling oil. We have a sustainable dishes in partnership with the HSBC One Plate initiative on our menus. And we're constantly looking at other ways to be more sustainable. We have a sustainability committee. And that sounds very hotel-y, doesn't it? I do apologise to everybody there. That wasn't meant to sound like that. But we've got a team of people who are passionate about sustainable initiatives. And they're the ones who are helping us brainstorm and drive initiatives into Media One. We're Green Key certified, one of only 4% of hotels in Dubai. So there's lots of things going on. We partner with Grow Here, one of our tenants. And we offer complimentary still and sparkling water in our office tower for everybody. Anybody who wants to come in. We've got people from neighbouring towers coming in to fill their water bottles up, not plastic ones. If I see anybody with plastic, I'll confiscate it. But so there's some of the initiatives. We're currently looking at key cards, because at the moment we can have keyless entry through our smartphones. Trouble is, when we get to the room, you need to put the key card in to activate the AC and the lights. So there's a bit of a gap there that we've got to try and see where we can fill. But no, we're pleased and proud of our sustainable initiatives, but they certainly don't stop there. And it's just looking at what else we can do to become a better business from a sustainable perspective.
You know, because it is something that you're a young brand in terms of like the types of clientele that you attract. I'm sure you have like, you know, many corporates as well, but you often see quite a young, energetic group of people in this property. They're purchasing stuff because of the sustainability initiatives as well, which there has to be a commercial element to this, or there's no one will do it, right?
I think it's one of the things that I've said to the team is that we've done a lot of good things. but we haven't necessarily told enough people about all the good things that we were doing. I was on a Zoom call with CCI France this morning, and they had two speakers on, and there was one young lady whose name I cannot remember, but she's got recycled tissues and toilet paper made from bamboo. So I've got a little note to contact her. But again, there's new initiatives coming out of it where you least expect it. The other one is all of our taps, they're now sensor. And that was almost part of coming out of COVID. We wanted the contactless environment, but at the same time, it's amazing how much water you save inadvertently by having that. So yeah, lots of fun things, lots of good things. And the most important point is that we're not being told to do it, we now want to do it. So there's the buy-in, there's that culture of how can we be more sustainable.
You mentioned fun, and you are a fun group. You've got something fun happening soon, which is your 10th year anniversary, I believe. I saw some people in the lobby promoting it. Can you talk us through what
I'm looking at you, Mark, and I'm looking at the team behind the camera here. We have a young, athletic group of people here. I'm sure are perfect candidates for the M1 run. Okay, so the M1 run. We're now doing our 10th anniversary, so it's the 10th run, obviously developed 10 years ago. And when we developed it, we wanted to do what we call a wow community event. And the idea was it wasn't going to be a one-off. So how can we create something that brings people in? It doesn't make us any money, but we don't do it obviously for that. It's all about how can we get people to do a crazy event at Media One. So it's Dubai's most exciting vertical race. We start off out of the main entrance of Media One where the big M is. We release people in groups of 4 and they run all the way around the outside, round by where Ciao Bella, up into the car park, a 1.2 kilometre run uphill till you reach P7. And P7 you go into the stairwell and a 700 step run or walk or whatever else, up to the top and you finish on the 42nd floor. We have male categories under and over 40, female categories under and over 40, and then we have a team category for teams of 4, and we take the average time. It's officially timed. This year, thanks to Knight Frank, another one of our tenants, and Transguard, one of our partners, we've got some sponsorship money on board, and as a result, we believe rather than break even, we're actually going to be able to make some money. And we've then said, who can we tie up with to donate this money to? And it's going to the Al Jalila Foundation for predominantly kids, but people with cancer. So it's going to a great cause. It's on Saturday, 10th of February, and it's just a good Saturday morning activation. We do the registration. Race starts at 9 o'clock. We'll be finished by 11. Everybody who completes the course gets a medal and goodie bag, and obviously there's some great prizes. So fastest male will get 4,000 dirhams cash, and the same obviously for the fastest female.
Can you give me a feeling for the sort of times last year? What was the winning time roughly? Do you remember?
The world record.
Yeah, the world record.
One year we flew over a Polish guy who does this for a living, because there's actually a tower running people out there. So we flew him in, and he completed it in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay. Last year's winner, a gentleman from Malaysia, who's coming back again this year, I think it was 6:32. So he was by far and away the fastest time, 2 seconds off the world record. And he's coming back to defend his title. And we have last year's female winner also coming back. So whilst it's a fun morning, there's a professional or semi-professional element to it. I reckon you could do it in about 8.5 minutes, Mark.
Okay. I've torn my Achilles a little bit, spit strained from all my golf.
Yeah. You've got 3 weeks. if Liverpool can get Mohamed Salah back from an injury in 3 weeks, I'm sure we can get you ready for the M1 run in 3 weeks.
Let's keep the conversation positive and not bring Liverpool into it. No, listen, that is amazing. I think it's when you look at branding, it's something that is so on brand with what you guys are, which is fun as well. So yeah, and
the great thing is being able to in this year for the first time giving to a very worthy cause.
100%. You said it before. You said like Dubai is dynamic, it's growing, the competition is incredible. You guys have a brand, without a doubt. Everyone knows Media One. It's kind of an institution. I assume it's Media One because we're in Media City or near Media City.
So with Dubai Media City, Media One, that's our connection with the media. Yeah. Wonderful sheep, the most expensive sheep in the world. I won't tell you how much they cost, but we've got 3 of them. And obviously the telephone wire and the telephone heads. Some of our younger guests say, what's this? They don't even recognize it as a telephone. But anyway, so there's our connection with the media.
And how do you, and you're doing the renovation, but how do you think about reinventing yourself and as the brand and keeping it top of mind? You've obviously got competitors coming into the market. We've spoken about them and it's great for the market segment.
Yeah.
But how do you guys stay being, you were the first, I think you're probably the best known. How do you stay there?
By hopefully being, we have the autonomy, as I said before, to run the business as if it was our own, in how I say the spirit of Media One. And that freedom and the ability to be ever so creative. When we've looked at the rooms refurbishment, we really have, I mean, I mentioned about the island bed. It's right against the window looking at the palm. Who else would do that? It's an absolute nightmare from a construction perspective, from a dynamics of the room, but from a guest experience perspective, and you sort of lie on the bed and look out, and yeah, great, that'll work. And so, how do we make it work within the size of the room? We look at not necessarily related to the room refurbishment. We're looking at our Wi-Fi speed at the moment. So, I challenge anybody out there to have a faster Wi-Fi speed than we do. And Mahmoud, who heads up our IT, is going to kill me if I get this wrong. In the rooms, we've got 40 Mbps, which is pretty quick.
Yeah, megabytes per second. You got it right.
That's it. There we go. I got it right. Good. You're okay, Mahmoud. Well done. In our meeting rooms, we've got 20, and in our public areas, we've got between 10 and 15. And so one part of the experience, whether it's a hotel guest perspective or whether it's you coming in and hanging out in our lobby, is that high-speed Wi-Fi, it's a given. But how can we make sure that we are the best of the given? So it's another aspect of it. Sustainability we've spoken about. How can we be the leaders? Who else is giving away water in their lobby, still in sparkling water? Most people want to charge people for it. We don't. No, let's give it away. So it's that freedom that we have to just get on and do it. Just get on and run the business, and that's the bit that I enjoy so much. That's one of the principal reasons why I've been here for so long. And then creating these moments and with a really fantastic team. So if it didn't have a great team behind it, Media One wouldn't be what it is. Let's
finish up with a
football.
No, because my team are not doing well, Mark, as you know. So let's not talk about Man United. Please, Sir Jim. You, in the next few years, like, is Media One home for you? Do you see yourself, like, where do you see yourself if we were to sit down in 5 years' time? Like, you seem so happy, which is lovely to see, by the way.
I am having an amazing time here. I live 10 minutes away. I have no commute. I have very little business travel. I work fairly hard, but at least I haven't got to go too far away, and I value that work-life balance. I don't need to rule the world as a vice president of this or whatever else of that. And I have a great time, great fun doing what I'm doing. Now, it could all change tomorrow, and if it does, I'll join you on the golf course.
Mark, listen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and congrats on everything you've done.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Mark. Cheers.